Episode number 14 of the Third and 10 podcast is here. What's going on, fellas? I'm Nate. That's Brian here to my right. We hope you guys are having a great day. Brian, happy Thursday to you. How you doing?
I got a bone to pick with Major League Baseball.
Oh, God. All right.
So I don't
Go
know.
ahead.
I don't know if you saw, but Major League Baseball announced a rule. Not a rule. A rule they're considering. It is starting pitchers have to go 6 innings, unless 3 they're hurt, throw over 100 pitches, or give up more than 4 runs. That is the stupidest rule I've ever heard of in my life. Okay, you're taking the strategy out of the game, right? There's other and look, I get why you want it. They want stars to go deeper into games. I'm all for that. This isn't how you do it. This is an easy way for pitchers to get hurt because you're forced to throw more. Like, what happens when you throw 70 pitches and your arm's tired? It's the third inning. You gonna stay out there for 2 more innings so you get to 100? That's how you blow your arm out. That's where it leads to injuries. The way to get starters deeper into games is to develop pitchers differently. We're developing pitchers to throw the ball as hard as they can. Actually teach these guys how to pitch, mix and max pitches, fastball, sliders. Do that. Stop emphasizing velocity, and pitchers will get deeper in the games. No more of his stupid rules.
I just like every year they're always changing something. I was like, can we just leave it as it is? The pitch clock is nice, the ghost runners.
There's some things that need to be tweaked here and there. I'm all for that.
Mm-hmm.
Every year we have these radical, drastic rule changes. It's like, stop. Let the game just be for a little bit.
Yeah, let's leave it as it is. Like, we don't gotta.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, I mean, unless you're Mitch Spence, who, as we're recording us today, pitched 2 2/3 against the New York Mets and threw 89 pitches. So technically,
yeah, you would have to be forced to keep going.
That's true until he reaches 100, right?
100, you're allowed to be taken out. Yep.
Oh gosh. So basically, if he threw 11 more pitches today against your Mets, you guys probably would have won because he was bad.
Or here's the thing: he throws 11 more pitches. What if his arm's tired? Something snaps on pitch 8. Half of the year.
Tommy John. Not that it's funny, but oh yeah.
No, but it's something we actually have to talk about, and they're not thinking like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, they better not do it. That's all I'm gonna say.
They better not do it. No,
please don't do it. But look, today's topic is simple, boys and girls. We got the AFC South division preview, our second of 8 division preview episodes of the Third and 10 podcast. But before we get even into that, a few moves to discuss for our beloved New York Giants. We made a few transactions as of today, August 15th. Jalen Mills, a safety that we signed this offseason, has been released. He was dealing with an injury. He was on the injury list, and it was just to the point where it's like, okay, he wasn't going to get really playing time anyway, so he has been released. Yeah. I won't miss him too much. I mean, he was a cool signing when we did talk about it before, but nothing too crazy of important. No. But in exchange, we signed a few players. We signed running back Joshua Kelly, who you guys may or may not recognize from his days with the Chargers. So great signing. Obviously, this would have made a little bit more sense if Tyrone Tracy were to miss time, but he seems, oh no, he is going to miss time. He's running right now.
Yeah.
Okay. So it makes sense from a preseason standpoint, I guess. It's just that I heard he was running. So I was like, isn't he healthy then? But the whole 3 to 6 weeks thing makes sense.
Yeah. I think he's running rehab running. He's not running full strength. He's just getting back to full strength.
That makes so much. I was like, no way. 3 to 6 weeks just went from that to
3 days.
Exactly. No fluffing way.
No. I think it's just getting back up to speed, and then he'll go.
Gotcha. All right. And then New York also signed a few DBs as well, Raheem Lane and Jonathan Sutherland. But I do want to focus on Kelly just for a second here because with Tyrone Tracy going to be being out, it's going to be Singletary, Eric Gray, and Turbo Miller as his 3 starters at running back. Do you see Kelly making the active roster on this team, or do you just feel like it's more of a preseason move than more than anything, Brian?
I can see him making the active roster because he has NFL experience in the past. Singletary's a veteran, but it's, Turbo, who, not really much NFL experience. Gray, who's had a season, and Tracy being a rookie, is out. Kelly, if he impresses and he's got the some regular season play, he could definitely earn a spot in this roster. Just from a veteran leadership standpoint, another voice in that locker room that knows the game.
Yeah, it's nice to have. So now, New York's running back room isn't as young as we thought it was originally going to be at the moment. You have two veterans, like you mentioned, in Kelly and Singletary. You have that young guy in Eric Gray entering his second season. Once Tyrone Tracy does come back, though, fully expect him to be part of that rotation, and possibly Kelly being bumped back to RB4. We'll see what happens, and we'll probably see him this Saturday when the Giants play the Houston Texans. Very excited for that. I heard they might play the most of the first half.
Good.
Yeah,
good. That's what I like to see.
Yeah, I think last episode, the episode before, you wanted Daniel Jones to get as many snaps as possible. Yeah, so we'll see what happens. Prayers, he
stays healthy, but very happy the Giants coaching staff wants him in the game and wants him to get the reps.
Amen. And DeVito as well. Can't wait to see him play. Against.
DeVito's just fun to watch. He's just fun.
He really is. Did you see his video about him being mic'd up? How much have you seen that yet?
I haven't seen that one yet. No.
Yeah,
that's definitely gonna be something I watch later.
He's a character. I do like.
Oh my god, he is. He would be such like a great guy in the booth or guy to have a podcast or something.
Yeah. What would you call that podcast? Oh, Tommy.
I mean, it's got to be something Italian. Got to be some kind of Italian pun or something.
We should brainstorm, and the next episode we'll reveal our options. But
there we go. That's a top 5 for next. We always do the top 5. That's our top 5 for next week. Tommy DeVito podcast names.
There you go. Ooh, we might get his attention too. But
come on, Tommy, please come on. That'd be awesome.
That would be so cool. Oh man, well, we are fanboying and stuff. So let's quit before we get too much. But
serious stuff.
Yeah, I know. Unfortunately, right? We got to talk about serious football journalism. Nah, but. Real talk. AFC South is the topic for today. Consists of the Tennessee Titans, Indianapolis Colts, Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Houston Texans. We'll start from the bottom. From what I'm pretty sure we can agree on who's going to the bottom team is. It's going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars.
No, last.
Really? Okay. Let's just start with Tennessee then. Let's start with the Tennessee Titans then. Tennessee Titans. Okay. So the Titans last season, they were decent. They almost made some noise last year in the South. I mean, we know the South between the Texans and the Indianapolis Colts, but that's not to say the Titans didn't do bad themselves. They were actually kind of decent. I forgot what the record was, and they were
6-11.
6-11. Thank you. You got my back. Will Levis's first year. Tannehill kind of started those first 6 games, and then Levis kind of took over after that because of injuries and stuff. But this season, I do see some optimism, but we'll start with you first because you do have them in last place, like you mentioned. Your thoughts on the Titans, and even though they did make a lot of changes in terms of coaching staff and roster, especially offensively, you know how much I love offense, so big focus on that. But why do you have the Titans finishing in last, Brian?
I get Titans finishing last just because of inexperience with the head coach, inexperience with Will Levis. Sure, he played, 6 games, but that was with Mike Vrabel as head coach. He has to now come in, learn the new offense, get comfortable with it. And there's also the sophomore slump to consider. So he's got to learn a whole new offense with his second year in the league. There is film out on him now, so teams know how to game plan for him and stuff. I know he's got, a great wide receiver room with Calvin Ridley and DeAndre Hopkins, who's a little banged up right now, and Tyler Boyd. Questionable running back. Tony Pollard's okay. Spayers is okay. I just don't love them. I think it's just going to be another development year. I think it's going to be a good year for them, but not a year where they take off. This is going to be really about making sure Will Levis develops, get some of the younger guys on the roster to go, get everybody up to speed. Then next year, we'll take a shot at the division or a shot at the wild card spot.
Okay, that's perfectly fine. Perfectly fair, I should say. This offseason, they made some additions. Let's start with the veterans. Mason Rudolph joined the team. Tony Pollard, like you just mentioned. Calvin Ridley, Shadiq Charles at guard. Lloyd Cushenberry comes to be the center. Sebastian Joseph Day. Kenneth Murray, L'Jarius Sneed. Chidobe Awuzie, and then they signed a safety, as you guys know. You might recognize his name. Jamal Adams is part of the Titans now. So defensively, this team, they're not looking too bad. Definitely an upgrade from last year.
Yeah.
Draft pick wise, they have J.C. Latham, the offensive tackle. He went seventh overall. Tavondre Sweat, the nose tackle, was a second round pick, but they did lose a few guys, most notably Derrick Henry. I do want to focus on the running backs for just a second because you made up a great
Yeah.
point because we've seen Tony Pollard multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
But he worked. I think it's fair to say that he worked best in a running back system where he has that running mate. Do you
Yeah.
think? Do you think that Tyjae Spears is a good running mate for him, or do they need more of a Ezekiel Elliott type? Not saying that he was, that Zeke was the best running back in the world,
Right.
but what do you
I
think in
think he
terms
needs
of?
someone with more experience.
Okay,
I think because he's still going to be the running back one right now because he wasn't in Dallas, and Spears was a rookie last year, right?
that's correct.
Year. So the rookie last year, he's in his sophomore year. He hasn't looked decent in minimum spots, but we need to see him become that back. Pollard can't be a running back one.
No,
He could be like a running back 1A, but
gotcha.
like he's kind of splitting. It's like an equal split. Maybe gets like one more a game, but then like Spears get two more next game. That's where I think Pollard works best.
Okay. Do you see this offense becoming more of a passing offense? I we know Brian Callahan comes from the Cincinnati. He was the OC there with Joe Burrow as the quarterback. Do you see Tennessee being more of a passing offense because of that uncertainty at running back?
Definitely that, and the fact that they have two big name wide receivers in Hopkins and Ridley. I know, they're not in their prime anymore, but these are still two very good wide receivers. And Will Levis has shown in the past he can air the ball out. So
Yeah.
if he just, develops a little bit more, learns how to read defense better, and has time for plays to develop, we could see that arm, the big plays coming from him.
Yeah. Cold Iron, glad to see you again. One of our biggest supporters says my fantasy team last year can confirm the Titans running backs are bad. Spears and that's tough.
Yeah, that's tough, bro.
Yeah.
That's tough.
And I mean, obviously Derrick Henry will be missed. I mean, he was such a pivotal point of their offense last
Heart
year.
and soul of the team. He
Yeah.
was the Titans' identity. Now I need to find that new identity.
Which is a more of a passing offense, like you just mentioned. I think that's why I have them, sort of competing for the top. They're not going to win the whole division. We know who that's going to be, obviously, but I do have them, finishing with a decent record to the point where they will challenge for a wild card spot because of this passing offense. Will Levis says, look, with Tannehill, they look so. The offense was just so slow. With Levis, he isn't afraid to say. We saw it against the Miami Dolphins in Week 14 last year in that overtime when they won 20. No, not overtime, but when they won 20-27, they came back and won it. He threw for 327 yards, and Derrick Henry only had 34 rushing yards. So not to say that I expect Levis to put those type of numbers this season, but at the same time, you do, like you just mentioned, Hopkins, Boyd, Ridley, three legit wide receivers that you can get the football to, and they will create plays down the field. Record. Well, before we get to the record, defensively, do you have any concerns about defense? They are led by Jeffrey Simmons, as you know. They did add a few guys in the secondary, like Awuzie, not Awuzie, but Awuzie and L'Jarius Sneed, Quandre Diggs. They added as well, and then Jamal Adams. You don't have any concerns defensively, I assume, correct? Because of
not really.
Okay.
I think they'll be fine. The defense has always been like the Titans are like the old school team, right? Running down your throat and have the defense stop them. The defensive core is still there; they'll be fine.
Okay, but you still have them last, and it's because of that offense, correct?
Because of Will Levis learning a new system. I can't trust him yet because he needs to learn this whole new system, and teams now know how to counter him.
Okay, so record-wise, if we had to give a prediction, what would that be for the Titans?
I would say 7-10, 8-9.
7-10. Okay, I will be because I have them on near the top. I mean, the schedule doesn't look that bad. I mean, yeah, their first 3 or 4 games are rough. I mean, Chicago, Jets, Green Bay, and Miami, but just I do feel like they'll be competitive enough to the point where I do see them near the top of the AFC South, not to win it, like I just said. So I'll put them at a solid. I'll give them 10-7. I know it's the opposite of you, but I do feel like just because of this passing out, I'm a big believer in Levis. I really am in this passing offense that they're likely going to run. So I'll go 10-7. I could be crazy wrong, but hey, that's the point of predicting because we could be wrong.
Exactly. Yeah.
Who knows? Alrighty. That was pretty quick for the Titans. So let's go ahead and transition to the next team. and that's going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars, who personally I have them finishing in last. So let's start with you.
I'm
Where do you
third.
have? What do you think? You have in third. Okay, so that kind of does work out. We just kind of
It's
just
gonna there's gonna be some major questions in Jacksonville after this season, especially surrounding is Trevor Lawrence the answer at quarterback? That's I think gonna be a really big question. Did we mess up in giving him this long-term contract? Because the Jaguars collapsed last year. There's no way around it. They collapsed, and I don't think they got better.
no. They and here's the thing, because you mentioned that collapse. They were 6-2 after week 8, and then the losses kind of began. They were 8-3 by week 12, but then they lost 4 straight to Cincinnati, Cleveland, Baltimore, and Tampa Bay. They beat Carolina week 17, but then they lost that last game against Tennessee.
Does that really count, though? You
Which one?
beat
The Carolina?
Carolina. You beat Carolina. Good job.
Yeah, it's true. Well, actually, matter of fact, CJ Beathard played that game against Carolina. Oh, what happened? I think Trevor got hurt. Oh yeah, Trevor was battling injuries last year. That makes so much sense. Um, point being though, let's look at the Jaguars offseason first before we evaluate both offensively and defensively here. Like I just mentioned, they were 8-3 after they beat the Texans in week 11 or 12, and then they kind of just struggled after that. So what did they do? Well, they did add some pieces. They added Mac Jones, who shouldn't be playing unless Lawrence gets hurt. Gabe Davis at wide receiver, Devin Duvernay, Mitch Morse, Arik Armstead at defensive tackle, Darnell Savage back at safety. Their draft picks included Brian Thomas from LSU. He's a pretty good receiver. He's very fast. Mason Smith in the second round. And then offseason wise, they did lose Calvin Ridley, who went to Tennessee, like we just talked about. Clavon Chason, the defensive end. They lost Darius Williams at corner, and then Rashawn Jenkins at safety. So they added some pieces, but they lost pieces too. And the pieces that they lost weren't that impactful. But like, it's not like they added someone more exciting to play.
There was no clear upgrade over.
Yeah.
And there's no like, oh my God, he's so much better. They were so good to move on from him. It's like, no, they got one at best at the same level.
Mm-hmm. And I think we can both agree that Lawrence didn't deserve to be paid that type of money, correct?
No, it's Trevor Lawrence, and I think I literally said it yesterday, living off the draft hype. Yes, he was the number 1 overall quarterback. Yes, he was great at Clemson. Sure, he had the awesome comeback win in the playoffs. Outside of that, look at his numbers. He's very comparable with Daniel Jones. And I know Daniel Jones got a big contract, and I don't want to send down the rabbit hole again of us talking about Daniel Jones. But everyone says Daniel Jones, at best, is an average quarterback. Why is that not the same with Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah, I mean, first 48 starts, I have it on me right now, actually, now that you brought it up. Here's the thing. Let's take a look into it. So Lawrence, in his first 48 starts, is 20-48. 20-28, sorry. Jones is 19-29. See, so very similar. Passer rating, 85.5 for Lawrence versus 85.4 for Daniel Jones. 55 touchdowns for Lawrence, 55 for Jones. 35 interceptions for Lawrence, 33 for Jones. Passing plus rushing yards combined, 12,204 for Lawrence, 11,992 for Jones. Yards per attempt, 6.7 for Lawrence, 6.7 for Jones. One gets criticized like crazy, legit every day.
And one gets, praised like, yeah, he's great. No,
and why is that?
Look at his numbers.
But why is that though?
I think because he was so liked in college and so good in college, he has that kind of like a honeymoon period. Like, oh, he was so good in college. We can't, he can't be bad. He was a generational talent. He was the best quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck, going to be the next great, all that stuff. They don't want to admit they're wrong yet.
Mm-hmm. Whereas Jones was drafted and everyone was like, who? And like, oh, he's from Duke.
Exactly. Jones had an average college career. Didn't really have much draft type around him, like a second, third round guy. He has such a reach at 6. It's just kind of like, let's clown the Giants for reaching. Where it's like, oh, the Jaguars made a good choice picking a generational talent in Trevor Lawrence. His game is not translating that well to the NFL.
Mm-hmm. And, I think for me, what's concerning is that, yeah, they pay Lawrence all that money, but what about the offensive core behind him? Travis Etienne is fine. We have no issues with him whatsoever at running back. Like, he's fine. It's just the receivers.
He's a big fantasy guy for me this year. I think they're going to lean on him heavy. Yeah, because I don't trust Lawrence, and I think if Peterson doesn't trust him, they'll start leaning on Etienne more.
So if they don't trust Lawrence, so what are they?
I think the Jaguars are lost right now. I'm sorry, Jacksonville. You're back to where you've been for majority of the 2000s, or basically since Tom Coughlin left. It's what is this team? What is this team?
They are a mystery. Remember when we broke down the Giants and how like the downfall of Daniel Jones came about? I do wonder what happened with Jacksonville because they made the playoffs like not too long ago. They are the best team in the South, and now they're just this. Tell you what, if they're mediocre again this season, we'll do a deep dive because I have to wonder because there's you don't go from the postseason and then just be like a regular 9-8 team like you usually are, just like that. It just I don't know, doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no, it's weird. It's something's wrong with ownership. I really think they need to sell, but I think it's cut the head off the snake. But this is a team that has fundamental problems.
I don't like their owner.
Something's wrong with this team.
I don't like their owner. I get the whole London thing, but like, why would you move your team to London?
Like, I understand what he's trying to do. He's trying because like Jacksonville's a small market. You're not getting a lot of fans. It's a small fan base to begin with. So okay, where do we go? Oh, NFL is trying to expand to London. What if we became London's team? It's a great marketing, idea. It's a good business idea, but for a football team, it's not. Like if he was running McDonald's, let's say, and came up with this idea, genius.
Yeah.
But, McDonald's and a football team is not the same thing. They're both businesses, but they run differently.
Oh, yeah, 100%. For me, speaking of which, McDonald's, they're coming out with like these souvenir cups. I don't know if you've seen them, but they're like...
Yeah, they're plastic.
Did you get one yet?
Got one. My sister got one.
What'd she get?
I have no idea. I know she got a McDonald's cup because my mom was like, I don't get what the point of this is. I'm like, I don't even know what that is.
Dang it. Because they have like these, like, you have to get like a Big Mac meal or whatever, and they give you like, there's like different kind of character cups.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're Grimace?
Maybe. I heard there's different kinds.
If there's Grimace,
that's what I'm saying, though.
If there's Grimace, how am I going to get Grimace?
Because you live in the East Coast, so possibly it makes sense. Yeah, but not to go.
Area, send. All right, the Mets fans are infatuated with the big purple guy. Let's send some up there.
They need to bring him back because
they had the Hawktula girl out there today. Caused a lot of problems.
No wonder you guys lost.
It's not a big deal. I liked her.
I
think she's fine.
Yeah, never mind. So I guess offensively, what are our concerns with Jack? It's obviously sort of on Lawrence, but I think we do have to have some questions about the receivers as well because you have
definitely
Christian Kirk, Gabe Davis though.
He was always he's a good receiver, but like we always expected more and never got it. Every year it seemed like this is Gabe Davis's breakout, and then we sat there and it's like he played the same like he did last year. He didn't really do anything to excel to that next level.
Yeah.
But we also said that a lot about Evan Ingram, and he went to Jacksonville and did it. So maybe it's the same story.
But based off like recent stuff, it's just.
Yeah, no, I don't trust Gabe Davis. Brian Thompson, I liked a lot. I like the Giants draft him. But same thing with Keon Coleman. He's an unknown right now. He's a question mark. I can't pencil him in to being a 1,000-yard receiver and a safety net for Trevor Lawrence. Even Christian Kirk, he's been good the past 2 seasons, but don't forget, when he signed that contract in Jacksonville, it was one of the worst contracts of the offseason.
Oh, yeah.
There's no guarantee that he might regress too.
I think what scares you the most about Davis is that, let's take this for example. I think we'll go to week 5 when he was on the Bills. They faced Jacksonville. He went for 6 catches, 100 yards, and a touchdown. Plays the Giants the next week. 3 catches, 21 yards. The game after that against New England, 1 catch for 6 yards, and then goes off for 9 for 87 and a score after that. Then goes for 0 catches for 0 yards the next week again. What I'm trying to say is, and that's like no, but this isn't just like basic inconsistent. This is like we're talking like multiple game inconsistency, and that's what scares me the most because he played with Josh Allen.
Opposite results,
Yeah,
like he's gonna catch 8 in this game and catch 0 for the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, and that's like whoa, like that's what And he played with Josh Allen. Like you go from that to Trevor Lawrence, sort of a downgrade. Okay, so it's like that's that
downgrade.
And you bring that's why you bring up a great point about the receivers. It's like. We don't know what's what with Gabe Davis. Brian Thomas is still an unknown, even though he did have a pretty good college career, and that's why they drafted him in the first round. And it's just like, And then Christian Kirk is, well, Christian Kirk is Christian Kirk. I don't know what to tell you. It just seems like Evan Ingram may be the best receiving weapon for the Jaguars team, and that's saying something considering the fact that he went from this guy criticized by the Giants and Giants fans, I should say, for drops and all that, to go to Jacksonville and just reinvent his career and be a Pro Bowl tight end like he was last year. So,
yeah, I don't know how he did that. Hats off to him. Good for him. No ill will, because that was never going to happen in New York. It just wasn't. Some guys just need that change of scenery, and playing in a small market like Jacksonville cleared Evan Ingram's head, and he got over whatever mental block it was that made him drop passes.
Yeah, we could use him these days, though, I'll tell you that much. We have a lot of uncertainty. But, defensively, Josh Hines Allen is the leader.
Thank
really
God
cool.
he's Josh Hines Allen now.
I know.
It confused so many people when it was Josh Allen. Like, no, there's two. I'm tired of having this conversation. No more two more Josh Allens. Quarterback and defense. He's now Hines Allen. Thank God. So
Smart move by the former Kentucky product who had 17.5 sacks last year for the Jags.
Him. You went right after Daniel Jones.
Oh, yeah. Wait, no. Oh, here comes the sadness.
Imagine Kayvon, Brian Burns, and him.
Oh, man. Ain't no way anyone, what's it called? Anyone's going to run past that. And
Dexter Lawrence.
Oh, my gosh.
Might be one of the best pass rushes in NFL history.
The modern day Big Blue Wrecking Crew. Yes.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But Jacksonville's defense looks pretty good as well. Rick Armstead, Trayvon Walker's on the other side of the pass rush. They do run a 4-3 defense over there in Jacksonville. So Tyson Campbell, Ronald Darby are the two cornerbacks. Darby is a bit old, though, so I'm just like, not maybe the best choice.
Bounced around a lot.
Yeah, I was going to say.
What, he was on the Eagles for a while? Was he on the Lions for a little bit, too?
Yeah, Buffalo, Philly, Commanders, Denver, Baltimore last year. So,
yeah.
Shouldn't expect too much from him, but we'll see. Overall, for the Jaguars team, who schedule-wise, it looks okay. I mean, they start with Miami, then Cleveland, and Buffalo. Actually, those first 4 games are scary with Miami, Cleveland, Buffalo, and Houston. But overall,
where's the Miami game? Oh, it doesn't matter. They're both in Florida. It'd be in Florida regardless, so Miami will just go all over them.
It's at a Hard Rock.
Tell Ronald Darby to guard Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle.
Oof.
Fun.
Burnt.
He's gonna need oxygen.
They are playing in Miami.
Playing in Denver? No, Miami. We're below sea level.
And plus, they get that little. You know how the sidelines are set up, so that like one team gets to shade, the home team gets to shade, and then the other team gets the sun.
Ronald Darby might die. There's a chance he might die against the Dolphins.
Either it's because of heat or it's because of being burnt by water. He's gonna get toasted
either
either way.
Tired or he's overeating or both. See Ron Darby in a while. Well, yeah, he's old and he can't keep up with them.
It's like I wonder why we don't see him on the field anymore. Well, he is.
Well, it's 100 degrees outside.
Make it make sense. But where do we have Jacksonville finishing in the AFC South? Brian, what's your record prediction?
Third. I mean, like I want to say this team's going to collapse, but they're just not going to. I think they're going to finish 7-10.
Okay.
Maybe at best, I think 9-8.
Okay, I'm gonna have them at 6-11. I really do not believe in Jacksonville whatsoever. Schedule-wise, talking, or just the team as a whole, it doesn't seem like an exciting team to watch. They could prove us wrong 100%, but it just right now not the most exciting group of guys to watch. So I do have them finishing
like
last.
About to watch a funeral. It feels like this team. There's something wrong here, and I'm just waiting for disaster. It's you're kind of sitting like right before the hurricane hits you. It's like, all right, something feels off right now. You know, something's eerie.
There you go. Yeah. So yeah, I think third place for you, last place for me. It's just we shouldn't expect too much from the Jaguars. So maybe Doug Pearson's is on the hot seat after this season. We shall see. All right. Yeah. Indianapolis. How you doing? Almost made the playoffs last year, but they lost to the Texans, and that was heartbreaking.
That was rough.
Who was that running back that fumbled? I forgot. I don't think he's on the team anymore. But when he dropped that pass, and I saw that, I was
Wasn't Zach Moss, was it?
No, it was Tyler Goodson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's on the team, and I doubt it, right? He is. Oh, he's still there. Congratulations, you still have a job, buddy. No, seriously, I do feel for him. I think he's getting like death threats and stuff. When he dropped that pass, I was like, "Oof, that's serious."
Rough. That's
I
rough,
know,
guys. Come on.
but
But
I know
I love football a lot, but I'm not killing a guy over it.
yeah, it's not that deep per se. So
Go touch some grass. Go for a walk. Come back.
go
I promise. I promise you, you're okay.
every little thing. It's gonna be
Go,
all right.
go watch some Peyton Manning highlights and go feel better about yourself.
There you go, Marvin Harrison. Andrew Luck, if you really feel like it. Like,
No, that got him depressed
too
too
much.
because there was so much hope in Andrew Luck and it just collapsed.
Fine, you give him the advice. I ain't the best person to turn to. Colts last year finished 9-8 though. Added Joe Flacco and Raekwon Davis. That was like the only veteran additions they made this offseason. They drafted Latu in the first round. Great addition there. Adonai Mitchell in the second round as well. Matt Goncavis, who can play both tackle and guard in the third round. They did lose a few guys like Gardner Minshew, who's with the Raiders now. They lost Zach Moss, Isaiah McKenzie, who's with our beloved Giants now. I do see him getting cut, but we shall see. Won't dive too much into that. Because most importantly, Anthony Richardson is back for Indianapolis this upcoming season after getting hurt last year, but he's back and ready to go. Jonathan Taylor, who was seen wearing the Guardian cap this preseason, he looks to still be the RB1 for the Indianapolis Colts. Brian, your thoughts on the Colts? We'll start with the offense because Richardson is the most exciting player on this offense. And what do you expect, or what concerns do you have when it comes to this Colts team?
The main concern with the Colts is Anthony Richardson. Like, yes, Anthony Richardson's a super exciting player, looks really good. The problem is his health. Like, think about it. He played in, 4 games last year before he got out for the season?
I
But
believe
in
so.
every single one of those games, he had to miss plays because he was on the sidelines because he was hurt. So he has never played a full NFL game. I'm hoping coaching staffs work with him to, get him, but he plays a very physical style of football where he relies on his sides to kind of bulldoze guys and throw the ball. I'm afraid he's going to get hurt again, and they don't have Gardner Minshew. They have Joe Flacco. No offense to Joe Flacco. We had a great miracle run last year. Do I trust Joe Flacco for 10 games for a playoff push? Absolutely not. So regardless of how good I think the roster is, I think it's very good. Richardson scares me a lot.
Fair enough. And it's like, Richardson is a dual threat quarterback. He got hurt, I believe, on a running play, if I'm not mistaken, last year.
On every running play he did, because he didn't slide. He was just like lead. Like, no, you have to get down, protect yourself.
Maybe that's like the main key is just to slide. And if he slides, everything's going to be all right over there in Indianapolis. But we do need to see more of his arm, I do feel like. And his arm, he has a solid arm. And he does have weapons to throw to. He has Michael Pittman Jr., who's a very, very underrated wide receiver, in my opinion, from Stanford. Adonai Mitchell in the second round that they drafted. His off the field concerns were the reason why he kind of fell to that second round. But as long as he, behaves himself and stuff like that, I think the Colts will have a solid 1-2 punch at wide receiver. And if not, they do have Josh Downs, who was a pretty good slot receiver as a rookie last year. I think most importantly that we didn't really address with the first 2 teams that we covered, but it kind of applies to in this scenario because the Colts are just known for this. It's their offensive line. You have Quentin Nelson, right? He's phenomenal. Braden Smith and Bernard Raymond at the 2 tackle spots as well. So, and then they drafted Matt Goncavis as an insurance kind of player at tackle and guard in the 3rd round this past draft. So this offensive line, definitely one of the best.
It might be the best in football. It's that good.
Yeah, Philadelphia disagrees.
Well, they took a big hit with losing Kelsey.
I know. Yeah, true. It's just they're not going to miss a beat, unfortunately.
No. Darn it. As much as I want them to.
I know. Saquon, you ready, bruh? 20 carries, 10 yards, baby.
That's about it.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see. I'm just kidding. That's not going to happen. But the point is, Indianapolis, great offensive line. Defensively, they were the first team actually to select a defensive player. No, they were the first team in this past draft to select the defensive player because the first 14 picks were all offense. And then at 15, they chose the best defensive player prospect that scouts had in Latu. A great pass rusher and all that stuff. And he's going to be great coming from UCLA. Very talented guy. He'll be opposite of Taekwon Lewis, it looks like, because right now the starters are Kwity Paye and Taekwon Lewis for the Colts, but I do expect Latu to be on the field early. DeForest Buckner's on the inside with Grover Stewart, very underrated defensive tackle himself. And then they don't have Bobby Okereke, obviously, for the second straight year because he's with us now. But they have Zaire Franklin and EJ Speed, so not too bad of a replacements there over there with Indianapolis. And the secondary is led by Julian Blackman and Juju Brents. So not really. I'm not crazy about the defense. Like, they'll be fine. I just see them.
I
as,
really
like
like the pass
average.
rush. The pass rush is where it's got me.
With Paye and Buckner and Latu and Lewis. I got you. So with that said, where do we have Indianapolis? I kind of have them in third in the division. I look at their schedule and it's like they'll be a good team. They'll be very competitive. I have no major concerns about Indianapolis whatsoever. I do think their defense will be average, if I'm not mistaken. Like I said, just my opinion. I do have them finishing. I'll go 9-8. They'll be 9-8. I do feel like Richardson will get hurt, so I'll think they'll finish 9-8. But what do you think, Brian?
I'm thinking 10-7, second place. I think my philosophy with football has been you need two good lines. You win games in the trenches, and that's what the Colts have had. They have a great offensive line and a great pass rush. I think the pass rush will step up and kind of overshadow some of the shortcomings on the defense, which will make it, I don't want to say a top defense in the league, but it'll make it a respectable defense because you're so concerned. And the offensive line will help Richardson stay on the field more. So I am going 10-7, and I don't know if they're a wild card team yet or not.
If anything, they'll take that last spot, if anything.
They'll take the last spot. Yeah, it's like them and the Jets will be battling for that last spot.
Fair enough. And then this is pretty easy in itself. We don't have any doubts about this team. Now they may struggle because of this overhype, but I don't expect them to.
It's a tough schedule for them too.
It is. I think people fail to recognize that. So their schedule, it's not the most promising in the world. We'll get to that in just a bit. But yeah, schedule-wise, it is a bit scary. But Houston last year, 10-7, kind of ahead of schedule because it was CJ Stroud's rookie season. You had a new head coach, obviously, in D'Amico Ryans, who came from San Francisco as a defensive coordinator. But look, the Texans were like, okay, we're going to succeed from the start, and we're not going to look back. And they really did. 10-7 last year, made the postseason. CJ Stroud was absolutely phenomenal. Upset the Browns in the opening round of the playoffs. They did lose to the Ravens, but it was Baltimore, so come on now. But the future is bright in Houston. Let's look at the veteran additions. Joe Mixon, Stephon Diggs, obviously. Daniel Hunter on defense, you got to be kidding me. When they added Hunter, I was like, oh, this team is for sure. Because Hunter was great in Minnesota. And now he's in Texas now. Jeez Louises. Aziz Al-Shaair was added at linebacker as well. Jeff Okuda, Miles Bryant at cornerback. CJ Henderson as well. Draft picks included Kamari Lassiter at corner, Blake Fisher at offensive tackle. They did lose a few guys like Devin Singletary, Jonathan Grenard, Jerry Hughes on the defensive side of the ball. But overall, this Texans team on paper has one of the best rosters in the NFL. And I assume you agree as well, Brian.
Oh, without question, they're one of the best rosters. And it's like the opposite of what Jacksonville did. Like, yeah, they lost Devin Singletary. But Joe Mixon is kind of an upgrade. Like, if you had Joe Mixon or Devin Singletary, more people are going to lean Mixon than they will Singletary. Yeah. But yeah, no, this is a great Texans roster. And you know what? Hats off to their GM because he realized that they have CJ Stroud on a rookie contract. He sees what the quarterback market's going to be. And we all expect CJ Stroud to be a top 5 quarterback, both in terms of in the league and in terms of salary. So he's going to have to give Stroud a big contract. Build the team around him while you can, get guys like Stephon Diggs, who might have a little bit of an overpayment, but he's still a good receiver. You can now, burn the money because you don't have to spend it all on the quarterback. The quarterback's supposed to take up 20% of your salary cap. Right now with CJ Stroud. So use that space that you don't normally have and go out there and get talented players. And that's exactly what the Texans did. So hats off to them. Way to be aggressive. Way to be like, you know what? We're in a position to win now. Let's roll.
And it's like, it's not just the offensive side they added pieces. Defensively, they look great as well. Will Anderson, oh my goodness. I really, really like him so much on the edge. You have Daniel Hunter on the other side. So that's like a good 1-2 pass rush duo. linebacker Alshire, Christian Harris, Henry Toe. Well, I don't know how to say that one.
Yeah,
But
yeah. The guy in Alabama, we always laugh at when he saw his last name. It was
there you go.
him and Kool-Aid McKinstry, the two
Yeah.
Alabama guys, are the greatest names.
I love it. What's his name? Kool-Aid is with the. Who was Kool-Aid with? I forget. Where is he at
New
now?
Orleans?
I think so, isn't he? He is. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Saints. Okay. Well,
Shout out.
there you
Takes
go.
it easy.
Quincy is his real name, but I can see why you went with Kool-Aid. It's more fun that way. Oh yeah. Derek Stingley
Who and Kool-Aid? Kool-Aid's awesome.
I haven't had it in a while. Have you had it recently?
I mean, like not since I was like 10. I think probably 10 years old was the last time I had it, like 14 years ago.
There you go. Yeah. All right. But yeah, I haven't had it since. Yeah, I was a kid too. I will get some though. I will get some.
If he was a Giant, I might have had to get some Kool-Aid.
Oh, like imagine that, like a Royal Giants Royal Blue Kool-Aid because of him.
There is blue Kool-Aid. It's actually pretty good.
Wait a minute! I just realized Kool-Aid was one of our options in the second round. Oh, but he went. I forgot because
it was him and Nguyen were the two guys they were debating.
And then once Kool-Aid was picked, wait, remember that when Lassiter got picked by Houston? Ironically, you remember that in Hard Knocks, the guy in the back, he had his phone. He was like, "Boy."
Yeah.
And then everyone was looking back. And I was like, no. I mean,
okay, dude, I think you're the only one that liked that. All right, bud.
And then he was like, it's Lassiter. And Shane was like, who? Lassiter. And then I'm not sure if you said, but Brian Dable was like, because he wanted a corner. Because they knew a corner was a priority for New York, but then Lassiter went to Houston. This is nothing on Tyler Nubin. I love Nubin.
Than corner.
Yeah.
I think I'd much rather Nubin than McCaffrey. I think I would have been upset if they went corner instead of safety.
Oh, yeah. Because Nubin kind of replaces McKinney like on the spot. Like
perfectly. Perfect replacement for Xavier McKinney. If you can get a perfect replacement, because he is one of the best safeties in the league.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Lassiter's with the Houston Texans, now opposite of Derek Stingley at corner. Offensively, we just talked mostly about CJ Stroud, Joe Mixon, Stephon Diggs. Nico Collins has really done a heck of a job kind of solidifying himself as one of the best receivers on this team.
And then Tank Dell.
Yeah, he's on the slot now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like 3 legit wide receiver number ones. Maybe Dell's a bit of a reach, but we kind of saw him kind of evolve into that type of player last year. So
even though I would be like, and I love the Texans going out and giving Stroud the no doubt wide receiver 1. Even if they win this season with Nico Collins and Tank Dell as wide receiver 1 and 2, I still feel very confident about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I guess overall, another schedule is a bit, of a struggle. They do face Buffalo and the Packers and the Jets, the Lions and the Cowboys, the Chiefs and Ravens later in the year, like legit, like the last two of their last 3 games of the season is against Kansas City and Baltimore. But overall, I think it's fair to say the team will win the division. I have them at 12-5, but where do you have the Texans finishing?
I have them 11-6.
Okay.
So pretty much the same. I just think the tough schedule, they'll lose a game. They'll lose a couple games they shouldn't.
Yeah, no doubt that they will make the playoffs as a matter of how far. I see them finishing in the AFC Championship game, but nothing further.
I think that's their ceiling. They're definitely. Okay. I think they'll probably be like a divisional round team. I think they could definitely get to an AFC Championship game, but they're still a year or 2 away from becoming the true Super Bowl contenders.
Okay, fair enough. Well, that'll do it for the AFC South. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you guys for stopping by and supporting us as always. Next up is the AFC North. We'll be joined by 16 and Easy from the ATL show tomorrow for that. And then me and Brian will be back next week together we'll discuss the AFC West. So that's going to be fun as well. But Brian, thank you. Thank you to you guys for watching and listening. We reached 100 subscribers yesterday. Congrats to us on the channel. We appreciate your support both on YouTube and on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. We really do appreciate it. So until the next episode, we'll see y'all then. And yeah.